Let it
So this week, we're going to take one more. We're going to look at one more toxin that you guys face every single day. And this toxin is we're going to look at toxic words. And we're going to look at toxic words that are painful and that can bring pain, bring hurt. We're going to look at those and how important they are and the things that we do say and how what it does, again, it can separate us from God. So how many of you guys have ever said something and you immediately wish you could grab it? You immediately wish you could take it back and you were like, I shouldn't have said that. I should never have gotten there. I should never have gone there. And the first thing is like, I should have quit while I was ahead. You're sitting there, somebody hands you a shovel, and you're just digging. You're getting deeper and deeper, and you don't stop. You know you should, but you just keep talking. And the words that come out, because our words are powerful. Our words have meaning. Our words can end up hurting people if we do. Now, I sometimes am not the best with my words. My wife will tell you that I am probably the worst. Most of you may have heard the news, but Emily is pregnant. Well, yeah. I'm learning this whole thing. I'm learning how to deal with a woman who's pregnant, learning how to go. So Emily has some cravings sometimes. We're not normally the people, we don't eat out a ton. We don't eat fast food. And about a week or so ago, she's like, I just want a burger. And she was like, I just want some crystals. And I'm like, that's just nasty. And she's like, I just want to eat some crystals. I need a burger. And I'm like, babe, you don't need that. You don't need that at all. You need to stay away from that. Okay, and when I'm saying it, babe, I love you. When I'm saying it in my mind, I'm thinking oh, that's not good for the baby. She doesn't need to have that kind of that fats, that oils. I'm like, you just don't need that. That's not good for you. And I'm like, and it's just the way I said it, babe, you don't need that. You really just need to stay away from that. And of course, I'm saying it, and I'm thinking in my mind, I'm just being uplifting. I'm saying, hey, I'm looking out for you and the baby. She's over there probably thinking, so I'm fat? So that's exactly what you're telling me, is I look fat. And whoa. And I immediately was like, oh, God, I have literally just dug myself into a hole. So that's what we're going with already. I'm fat, and you won't let me eat that because it's just too much. And I'm thinking in my mind, I am just, I don't know where to go. I'm digging a hole, and I'm like, that's not what I meant. You took that out of context. I was just trying to tell you, hey, we should be careful for the baby. What should we eat? And I'm thinking, I've literally just dug myself a hole. And my words, and it's maybe funny, I may have said something in my mind, I think I'm being uplifting. I think that I'm trying to look out for her, and in her mind, those words didn't come across that way. It came across the completely opposite direction, and I was in uncharted territory. I had no idea how I got there, and I knew that I'm in no man's land. I'm done. I'm in trouble. But our words are powerful. Our words have meaning to them. They may not always mean what we think they do, but to someone else, they can be taken that way. And we're going to look at that tonight. We're going to look at maybe sometimes we need to think about what we say. You've heard that. Think about what you say before you do. And that's what we're going to look at tonight, how powerful our words are. When I was preparing this message for you guys, I can't even tell you how many verses the Bible has on the power of our words. The power of the words that we say. It took me forever just to pick through what I thought was the most important for you guys. Because I looked through and it was verse after verse after verse. And if there's all these verses in the Bible that speak about the power of our words, that should show you God's telling you it's important the way that you talk. It's important the things that you say. So tonight, if you have your Bible app, if you have your Bible with you, we're going to spend tonight in Proverbs. I love Proverbs. I've told you guys this before. If you have anything, if you're dealing with something, you can probably find it in Proverbs. So we're going to be looking through there tonight. And if you guys want to turn with me, we're going to look at what the Bible speaks of and our importance of our words. So the first verse that I have for you guys is going to be Proverbs chapter 18. We're going to be down in verse 21. And what it talks about is it says, words kill. Words give life. They're either poison or fruit. You choose. Our words, they have the power to shape. They have the power to control. They have the power to affect our behavior. Words can kill. You need to choose. Are your words going to be poisonous? Are they going to be negative? Are they going to be hurtful? Or are your words going to be fruitful? Are your words going to be positive? Are they going to be uplifting? So you have to look at what's important. The Bible tells you, you choose. You choose. Which one are you going to do? Which route will you choose to take when it comes to speaking? But here's the other thing. Our words don't just control us, they also control the people around us. They also control the way that people feel, the way that people think, the way that people behave when they're around us. Our power is in our words. So I got a couple points for you tonight. We're going to look at words. Why are they powerful? What makes them powerful? And how do I deal with the way that I talk? And the first point that I have for you tonight is life is controlled by words. Life is controlled by words. So your words, they have the power. They have the power to bring you up. They have the power to tear you down. They have the power, words have the power to bring life. Words also have the power to bring death. Now, when we look at words, I want you guys to think about where you are right now. Think about where you're sitting. Think about where you live in this city. Think about the state you live in. Think about the country you live in. Think about the world that you live in. Think about the universe. All of these things, these massive things that make up this entire world, it appeared because God spoke words. God said, let there be light, and it happened. This world is only here because God spoke it. God spoke life. God brought life because he spoke the words. This is all here. If in your mind, if you're trying to find where you think like, no, my words, they aren't that meaningful, nothing they say, it's not that powerful. You're only here because God said it. You're only here because God said, let there be light. This world was created because God spoke it. Proverbs chapter 12, verse 18, it says, a words of the reckless pierce like swords, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. Your words pierce like a sword. If you're saying negative words, if you're saying things that aren't uplifting, I want you to imagine, you have a sword, and take that you have it, and you're just slowly pushing it right through somebody's chest. Imagine what that's like as you're sitting there and you're just negative, negative, negative. Imagine what that feels like for that person as you're just pushing those words. Or maybe it's yourself. Imagine somebody's just taking a sword and ramming it right through your heart. And it's just the words. That sword is words, what they're saying. But if you choose to speak life into people, if you choose to speak in uplifting ways, and what you're doing is you're being wise and you're healing with your words. You're bringing things that feel good, not pain, not hurt when you guys do this. How many of you have heard the phrase, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words may never hurt me? That's straight poo-poo. I'm saying it. I said poo-poo on the platform because that's exactly what it is. Sticks and stones may break my bones. That's ridiculous. You're telling me you can throw rocks and it's going to hurt me, but my words won't? That's just like, I know you've heard that in your entire life. You've probably heard your teachers tell you that. You've probably heard your parents tell you that. It's absurd. There's no way that words don't hurt, because think about it this way. Sticks and stones may break my bones, okay? Bones take a couple months to heal. If you've had a broken bone, you know. It takes a little while, but words take longer to heal than a broken bone. The words that you say take longer to heal than a broken bone. That word that you talk to, or maybe it's been talked to you. You know that maybe somebody says something to you and it's taken a year, and you still in your mind think, they said this to me. This is how they made me feel when they talked about me this way. Those wounds, they don't heal right away. They don't heal as fast as a broken bone would with the words that we had. So what kind of words are you guys taking in? What kind of things are you feeling? And not just what are you feeling, but what are you speaking out? What are you speaking to others? Are you speaking things that are toxic? Are you speaking toxic words? Are you speaking words that help uplift and help bring life to other people's souls? Are you speaking words that destroy, that eat away, that kill the soul that we have inside of us? So the second point that I have for you, it's one I actually used a few weeks ago, but I think, again, it's important. and you need to pay attention to it. The second point is guard your heart. But this time, you're guarding your heart from toxic words. You need to protect yourself from those toxic words that you hear. Chances are, most of you in this room have had something said to you at some point or another that has just crushed your spirit. Somebody has told you you weren't good enough. Somebody has told you no matter what, you're never going to be that good at what you want. That dream you have is stupid. Maybe people have told you they don't care to be around you, that they don't like the person you are. Your spirit at some point has been crushed. Everybody has been affected by words that we feel. When I was back in high school in 9th grade, we were living in Waldorf, Maryland. It's like this little podunk place up north, right outside of Washington, D.C. And my entire life, I had played sports. I'm not trying to say I'm awesome. I'm not trying to say I'm the best athlete. But I had always played things like t-ball and soccer. I just want you guys to imagine a guy my size just trotting up and down the field, kicking a little ball. That was all of high school, or all of middle school. Just running up and down the field, kicking a soccer ball. I was the worst soccer ball player you ever saw. But my 9th grade year, I thought, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm going to play a real man sport. I'm going to play football. Sorry if you're in here and you play soccer. I just think football is a little harder than soccer is. But I decided to play. When I did, I still remember that first day of practice because we were mixed in with the juniors, we were mixed in with the seniors, with the sophomores, and I'm just this little, it's hard to imagine, but I was tiny at once. But I was this little tiny freshman, and I remember we used to hold these big bags, and the sophomores, the juniors, and seniors, they'd see the freshmen as like we were meat, man. They were just excited. They're like, oh, I'm gonna put somebody on their butt as fast as I can. And I remember always holding the bag that first day. I'm like, oh, I can do this. I can get in this. I remember them coming up and just slamming us on the ground. I'm thinking like, oh, dear God, what have I got myself into? Why did I want to play football? But I'm a very competitive person. I will throw my body into it. I don't care if I break every bone. It doesn't matter to me. I will fight tooth and nail to make sure that you're on the losing side and I'm on the winning side. Most of you guys that know me, I am a bad sport. I hate to lose. If you've played Gubs with me before, you kind of know. I don't like to lose. But I spent all year long doing that. I spent all year going to every practice. I can't tell you how many times I laid on the ground. I went to every single game, and I was that kid that during warm-ups, I was like scooting my butt on the grass. I was like rolling around. I'm making sure as I'm walking on the sideline, people are thinking like, oh, he's dirty. Yeah. Nothing but grass stains, right? Jersey's fine. Helmet's clean. It's just my white pants. All dirty from doing stretches. I'm just going to keep moving, and I'm just going to try to get myself as dirty as I can so it looks like I play. But I didn't play all season long. But I stuck with it. And I was like, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to suck it up. I'm going to do it. And I remember at the end of the season, we had to turn in all our pads. And I remember when the season was over, walking into the coach's office, handing our pads, handing everything in. And I remember still to this day, the first thing he told me is that this wasn't for me. He pretty much told me, he's like, this is not for you. Football's not your sport. You're just not good at it. I appreciate all the time you put in. I appreciate all the effort, but there's better people here. And there's better people that can play. And I remember that, and it stuck with me. Those words, they kept me from doing it. And I spent the whole rest of the year thinking, I don't need to play ball. Like, I'm terrible at it. I was excited. I wanted to. I was going to prove I could do it. But my coach pretty much told me that I wasn't worth it. And I was just wasting space for somebody else who was better than I was. And I remember that next year, my 10th grade year, we moved to Okinawa, Japan. And for some odd reason, I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and play ball. I'm going to try out. I'm going to do it. I'm going to see what I do. And I ended up playing my sophomore year. I ended up playing my junior and senior year on the varsity squad. I ended up being a team captain the varsity year. And then I played into college. If I had listened to what he said, if I had not guarded myself from it and thought, you know what? I can play. I can do it. Then I would never have experienced that. I would never have kept going. I never would have known what it felt like to put on a college football jersey. If I had just listened to what he said to me, if I had just let him tear me down, tell me that I needed to let somebody else be there, if I had listened to the words and not guarded myself from it. See, here's the thing, guys. You can't help the toxic words that people say to you. But what you can do, you can help the toxic words that you believe. You can help what people say, and if you take it in or not. When you hear it, do you believe it? If somebody tells you you're not any good, do you take it in? If somebody tells you that you can't play a sport, or those of you that play instruments, somebody may have told you one day, hey, you can't do it. You're terrible at it. Do you take it in? Do you listen to them? Or do you let them know that I'm not going to let your toxic words bother me? You need to guard yourself from it. Here's what the Bible says in Proverbs chapter 15. A healing tongue is a tree of life, but a deceitful one crushes the spirit. A deceitful one crushes the spirit. That's exactly what that coach tried to do to me. Don't ever, guys, ever let anybody tell you that you're not good at something. Don't ever let anybody tell you that there are better people out there than you. Don't let anybody ever tell you that you can't follow the dreams that God made you to be. Those of you guys that play instruments, you never started out being good. You may be great now, but you didn't start out that way. If people had heard you on day one, they probably would have told you were absolutely horrible. But if you had believed it, if you had listened to it, then those of you that up here that do worship, you wouldn't be standing here. Those of you guys that do media or that help set things up, maybe somebody told you, hey, you can't do that. You're not any good at it. If you had listened to what they said, you wouldn't be here making sure you guys have things to look at. You have to guard yourself from it because, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, your entire life, you're going to have people tell you can't do it. I have people tell me at work that we're terrible. I have people that tell me my staff are terrible, that the things we do, that they're going to go somewhere else. I hear it all the time. You are constantly going to be faced with negative people. But do you choose to listen and believe what they say, or do you choose just to filter it out? Just a couple examples of things that you guys are going to hear. First one is gossip. Gossip sounds innocent. You may be just sitting around talking like, oh, this happened, and can you believe they wore that? Can you believe did you hear what they did? But that innocent just talking with somebody, think about it. It may be one person. Somebody else may walk up, and now there's 2 people. Somebody else may walk up, now there's 4 people, 3 people. You have people coming up talking. Next thing you know, that person you're talking about hears about it. And maybe it wasn't the best thing. Maybe they had done something stupid. That goes into our next one, which is shame. Maybe you've messed up. We all mess up. I've messed up today. I messed up the other day when I told my wife she couldn't have that burger. That was still the worst thing I've ever said. But we all make mistakes. But are you going to let somebody continue just to shame you for it? You're going to learn from it. Hopefully you're going to learn from it. But are you going to let them continue just to shame you of it? The other thing are things like lies. That goes right up there with gossip. Maybe people are gossiping about you and it's not what really happened. But you can't defend yourself. You can't tell them what actually happened, and next thing you know, you're just stereotyped. Oh, this person's just like this. Man, this person, they're not any good. And again, you're going back into exactly what we talked about the past few weeks, toxic. Toxic thoughts, toxic fears, rejection, failure. You're being criticized. Everything you see each week just lines up together. And you've fallen into the pit of these. The other one is ones like constant sarcasm. I'm the worst one in the world. My boy Scott over here, Scott McClinton, he'll tell you, I'm the most sarcastic person in the world. I see some of you in here like shaking your head. Like you were sorry. I am. But I need to be careful of it because I could be sarcastic to somebody on the wrong day. A day that they've had the worst day in the world, and I'm just trying to play and be sarcastic, and the next thing I know, my joking becomes toxic. My joking becomes negative. My joking becomes something that brought death. It didn't brought life. When maybe they just needed to be uplifted on a day that they're not ready for it. Guys, with time, I know you've heard this before, but with time heals all wounds. But here's the issue with that. It's another one of those statements that I don't always agree with because wounds leave scars. Words leave scars. The point of a scar is to always show you that there's been something that's happened to you. If you've fallen, if you've had an injury, if you've broken a bone, there's a place that you probably see on your body right now that you know, oh, that's when I did this. That's when I did that, because it's a constant reminder. Those scars that we have about ourselves, those scars that we have about toxic words are nothing more than constant reminders of the things that we deal with. But healing in toxic words doesn't mean that you have to forget. It doesn't mean that you have to forget the way that you felt. What it means is you have to filter through God's word the things you hear. You have to filter through what God says about you. You have to filter out the positive and the negative. Let the positive in, keep the negative out. You have to filter those. God's word transforms lives. Every Sunday morning, you see Pastor Brandon Dawson, Pastor Brandon Matthews up here speaking words. You guys see them up here every Sunday just changing lives, basically with the words that they speak. God is using them as vessels. God is using them to speak life-giving, life-changing words. Our words are important. If we didn't have words, you wouldn't hear this message. You wouldn't hear what they have to say on a Sunday. Our words change lives. God uses words to change lives. We're going to change it up just a little bit. We're going to move to Matthew, but we're going to be looking at chapter 12. It's going to be down in verse 36, and here's what it says. I will tell you this, you must give an account on Judgment Day for every idle word you speak. The words you say will either acquit you or condemn you. Can you guys imagine the day comes, you finally get to make your way up to heaven, your soul's up there, you're ready to go, you're standing at the gate, you're just waiting in line, you're waiting to get in, and you get in like, hold on, gate's closed, so hold on, let's keep account of what you said. And imagine God sitting there and you're like, all right, you literally said this like 15 minutes ago. Like you see God going, did you really just say that? Did you say that to that person? Like God's going to keep track of everything you say. Those times that we're trying to grab back, those times that we were hateful, those times that we were hurtful, that we weren't showing mercy when somebody needed it, God's going to keep track of everything you say, and he's going to make you accountable for it. It has a list. God has a list of everything that you say. And it's either going to acquit you or it's going to condemn you. Not only will we be held, but the people around us. So remember that. When you hear those negative words, just remember that they're going to have a day when they're held accountable for it, just like we are. We're not safe from it. We're going to be held accountable for what we say. They will too. So when you hear those negative words, just remember that. You heard me say the week before that things like toxic fears and toxic thoughts, when we have those, it can make us be a toxic person. And the same thing goes for when you guys spend time around people that are toxic, that speak toxic words, you yourself will begin to speak toxic words. If you spend your life around people that are just negative, that are mean and are hurtful, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to talk to them just like the people that you spend time around. So make sure you guys are limiting that. Limit your time with people that speak toxic words. The third point that I have for you guys tonight, speak life-giving words. Speak life-giving words. You need to speak life-giving words every single chance that you get. We're going to look at Ephesians chapter 4. And before we do, I've got two different versions. I loved the way that they were done in two different versions. The first version I'm going to look at is the Message. The second version is the New Living Translation. I want you guys to kind of see how each version of this verse is just divided up and shows the importance of how we talk. And it's going to be chapter 4. It's going to be in verse 29. And here's what the Message version says. Watch the way that you talk. Straight up. It says it right there in the Bible. You need to watch the way you talk. Let nothing foul or dirty come out of your mouth. Say only what helps. Each word is a gift. Now, if we take the alternate version of that in the New Living Translation, here's what it says. Don't use foul or abusive language. Let everything you say be good and helpful, so the words will be an encouragement to those who hear them. Take both those verses. First one, watch the way you talk. There's no other way around it. You need to watch how you talk. The second one, you need to be spending time talking with words that are good and helpful. Words that are encouraging and uplifting to the people that you speak to. Here's the reason why. Here's the reason why you need to watch what you say. Your words, the things that you say, your words reveal your heart. Your words reveal what's right here. It just reveals the soul that you have. We've talked about it. Your body is nothing more than a vessel, but your soul is the only thing that matters. If you speak nothing but negativity, if you speak nothing but criticism, if you speak nothing but being mean, if you're just a hateful person, that's the soul that you have. That's the heart that you have. But if you're somebody that constantly speaks life, if you're somebody that constantly just brings people up, that constantly tells people how good they do or what they mean, that's what you are inside. The way you speak reveals what your heart is. I'm going to challenge you guys. I want you to take this next week and even into next week with spring break. When you guys think something positive about somebody, say it. Now, guys and girls, that doesn't mean that you have this girl that you've been wanting to talk to, and you're like, oh, hey, you're cute, you're pretty. Or girls, you have that guy like, hey, cutie, I see you every day, I just want to talk. I'm not trying to tell, this isn't a like a green light to hit on somebody. I want you to like legitimately use this. If you have somebody that you think positively about, like, I love the fact that anytime I need somebody, you're there. I love the way that you do worship. I love how anytime I need something, you check on me. Be positive. Why, if you feel it, if you feel something positive about somebody, why not say it? Why would you rob that person of who they are? Why would you rob that person of that positivity? Two people that in my life that are excellent at this is both Pastor Brandon Matthews and Pastor Brandon Doss. Both of them, it is like a sixth sense that they have. If you're having a bad day, or if you have something you're going through, or you're stressed out, it is like without fail, you're going to get a text message or a phone call out of nowhere. Hey, I just want you to know, man, you're just doing awesome. Hey, I just, something as simple as, hey, I love the fact that you're in our lives. I love the relationship that you and I have. Hey, I just want you to know that I'm proud of you. Just out of the nowhere, out of the blue, they understand the power of their words. They understand that. And we need that. Let's be honest. I know some people sit in this room and you think, I don't do it for the encouragement. I don't do it because people need to give me credit for it. There's not a single person in this room that can't tell me that when somebody says something positive about it, you don't eat it up. That you don't love every moment of it. That you're like, oh man, they're noticing. They see what I'm doing. They see it. We need that. As humans, we have to have it. We need to be encouraged. We need people to do it. We need people to tell us, hey, you're doing awesome. I loved what you did tonight. I just love the fact that you're there whenever I need to talk to you. It's just positive words. Again, don't ever steal that from somebody. Because for all you know, that's what they needed that day. They needed those positive, encouraging words. So speak life every chance that you get. The last point that I have for you, you need to listen to life-giving words. You need to take it in. I just told you there's not a person in this room that doesn't like to hear positivity, that doesn't like to hear that I'm doing good. You need to accept that. Don't be that person that when somebody says something nice to you that you're like, oh, you're just messing with me. Don't be that person. Because here's the difference. Don't be the person that robs somebody of being positive. If you turn somebody down, if they try to be positive to you, you've now robbed them of the time they took to tell you of it. You took the time to keep them. Sometimes it's not easy. It's not easy to tell somebody that they're doing something good. But when you don't allow them, you've now robbed from them just the same as they robbed from you not telling you. So make sure that you guys accept that. And I know it's hard. I know there's probably people in this room, there's probably people watching this on the internet that live in constant negativity. You may have family at home that tell you that you're not worth it, that you're not good, you're not going to amount to anything. You may be in a relationship where you have that. You may be in a relationship where someone tells you, you're just a terrible boyfriend. You're a terrible girlfriend. Nothing you do will ever be good enough. You may have a circle of friends that do nothing but tear you down, which I don't understand why you're calling them your friends. But you may be in that. And I understand that it's not always hard to believe when you hear those positive things, but you need to. You need to listen when somebody is positive because it took a lot for that person to be positive towards you. Another verse that I have for you guys, this one's not going to be on the screen, but it's James chapter 3, verse 2. And what it says is, for if we could control our tongues, we would be perfect and could also control ourselves in every other way. If we could control our tongues, we would be perfect. The way that you do that is by having a filter. Have that filter. When you have things said to you and it's negative, let it go out. Do not allow that into your soul. If you have somebody that's let it in. Filter those things out. Here's the reason why. Here's the reason why it's so important to filter words, to filter what's said to you, because one, God wants you to feel loved. God will never be a negative person. God will not ever speak negativity to you. God is going to speak nothing but life, God is going to speak nothing but love. He is not going to try and bring you down. God is not a negative person. God is a positive person. Here's the thing. Christianity, it is the only religion where we serve a God that pursues us. Every other religion is something about you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to act this way, you have to ask forgiveness for this, you have to, all these different things you have to do to get a God to notice you. You already serve a God who loves you and is going to do everything he can to pursue you, who wants to do nothing more than teach you positive things, who wants to tell you, I made you exactly who you are, I made you the exact way that I plan to make you, so you need to accept that and need to understand that you are a positive person. You are the person you are. Don't let anybody tell you you're not supposed to be what I made you to do. I took the time to make you. So accept that. Listen to those life-giving words. Now, I understand this may sound a little Dr. Phil-ish. I wish so bad I could mock the way that he talks, his accent. I'm not even going to try. Those of you who heard my English accent, it's bad. I'm not even going to try it. But you need to be positive, okay? I'm gonna hit you with some Dr. Phil. You got to be positive. These toxic words, you're not going to forget them. You're not. There's no way around it. You're going to remember. They're going to leave scars. You're going to remember these toxic words. But here's the thing. You got to think positive about yourselves. And most of all, you need to think positive about yourself because God does. God thinks positive about you all the time. Don't ever let that negativity that people speak come into your life. You need to be the master of your own filter. If you can master your filter, if you can master what comes into your soul, what taints yourself, what contaminates you, if you can keep that out, if you can keep that from it, you are now able to master that filter that God's supposed to give you so you can understand that you are life, that God breathed life into you and that you are an amazing gift that he made. Here's the thing, and I wrote it down. The Bible refers to Jesus as the word of life. Jesus, the person that we serve, the person that we sing about, that we worship, he is the word. Again, you hear that word. The Bible references all these things. It should let you know how important these things are. Jesus is the word of life. I got one more verse for you guys, and I want you to take this verse this week. Those of you watching on the internet, I want you to write this down as well. So make sure, take it out, take your phone. I got a verse for you. This verse that I want to give you guys, I want you to use this as your prayer every single day. Write it on your mirror in your bathroom. Put it on your phone, whatever it is. This verse, when you pray, when you do your devotion, when you spend time with God, I want you to take this verse and I want you to use it. I'm going to have Ryan throw it up on the screen for you. Here's what it is. It's going to be Psalms chapter 19, verse 14. I want you guys to use this as your prayer to God. It says, may these words of my mouth and this meditation of my heart be pleasing to you in your sight, Lord, my rock and my redeemer. One more time. I want this to be your prayer. I want you guys, let's read it with me one more time. May these words of my mouth and this meditation of my heart be pleasing in your sight, Lord, my rock and my redeemer. When you guys go this week, use this prayer. Make sure that you know that when I speak, these words, they're a meditation of my heart. Remember, the words you speak reveals what's right here. It reveals what's inside. So make sure that you guys think about that this week. As we get ready to close, I want you guys just think back over all the weeks. Think back over all the different things that we've talked about. All these toxic influences, toxic thoughts, toxic fears, toxic words. All these things are things that do nothing more than creep into our heart, creep into our soul, and contaminate who we are. I'm going to ask you guys, go ahead and bow your head for me. As your head's bowed, I want you guys just to think about the words that you say every single day. I want you to think about what you say to others. I want you to think about the words that you take in. The words that are spoken to you guys every single day. Maybe you're that person that you speak those examples we gave. Maybe you speak gossip. Maybe you stereotype. Maybe you are one of those constant people that are sarcastic. Maybe you speak lies. Maybe you speak things that are hurtful to others. I want to challenge you guys. Don't speak those negative words. Don't allow your heart to look cold. Don't allow your heart to look hard. I want you guys to spend time in prayer this week. Pray that God will take over all the words you say, that God will take over everything that comes out of your mouth, and that everything that you do is life-giving. Maybe you sit here today and you've been here all 4 weeks. You've heard all these different toxins we deal with. And maybe it's just got the ball rolling in your head and you're wondering, I'm toxic inside. I'm full of nothing but sludge and mess. And I'm here to tell you guys today that God is here to wipe away every single bit of that mess that covers your heart and covers your soul. All you got to do is just invite Christ into your heart. Take that time to tell God, I want to follow you. I want to speak life every single day. I want you to be my filter. I want you to keep the things that are negative, that are hurtful, that are painful. I want you to keep every single one of those things out of my soul so I can remain pure for you. And I want you to allow in nothing but wholesome, nothing but loving, nothing but pure, uplifting things. If you're ready to make that commitment, if you're ready to invite Christ into your heart, if you're ready to ask Christ to come in and clean your soul, all eyes are closed, all heads are bowed, nobody's watching. All I want you to do is just slip your hand up for me. If you're ready to make that step, you can also take it and put it on that connect card that Daniel talked about. Maybe you're not ready to put your hand up. Maybe you have questions about what we talked about. Maybe you have questions about all these toxins that we encounter every day. God, we love you. Every single week we thank you for each and one of these students that spend time with us here on Tuesday. I just pray that you'll just become abundant in each one of their lives, that you'll reveal that what they have inside, that you'll reveal that the heart that they have is nothing but you. They have a heart full of you, God. And I pray that you'll be that filter for them. I pray that you'll make sure that each and every one of them understand that they are beautifully and wonderfully made, and that nothing that anybody can say that's negative, that's hurtful, that tears down is ever true whatsoever. That they'll understand that you made them to be exactly who they're supposed to be. I pray for the students in here that are ready to make that decision. I pray that those that are already following you, that when they go out, that they speak nothing but life-giving words to others, that they are an example for you, and that they show others through their words, through their actions, through their thoughts, what kind of an amazing God you are, that you spend your entire life pursuing us. God, we love you. I thank you again for every single thing that you're doing for these students right now, and I thank you for every plan that you have for them as well. God, we love you. Amen.